So I may have been wrong, and I want to find out today in the video along with you guys. I recently saw a video about, I recently made a couple of videos about the stability of the Nikon Z8 as far as electronic stability and the normal IBIS walking around. And you can see, it doesn't handle footfalls very well. So I wanted to test that out because I saw a new video. It was a live stream actually, where Ricci mentioned that for the Z8, you have to set the camera at 1/250th of a second in order for it to really take advantage of the electronic stabilization. Now, Mr. Sony cameras, when I turn that stuff on, things crop in and footage, it looks smooth. But Sony also has the next level stuff I've showed you guys. I won't talk about that again, which also smooths out the footage even more. So what I want to do today is take the camera out and test it. I put it in program mode just to have to walk around and around before I started to see what it looks like. It gave me about 1/250th of a second and f8. So I'll try program mode. If it doesn't stick there, I will put it in manual mode and set things up so that it will hold 1/250th, a little bit higher than 1/250th, to see if I can get the electronic stabilization to work very well. So we're going to find out together if this is actually a fact. But I will say 1/250th is actually kind of high. I usually use like a filter to kind of maintain my 1/50th of a second or 1/60th, well, I'd say 1/20th or so, because that's probably as high as I would really go, just in case I have too much light and I don't want it to be too dark in case stick it up there. Usually it's double the shutter speed, but sometimes I go a little bit higher than that because of lighting conditions and the filter that I have. So let's go for a walk. Let's see how things work out. Before we begin, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support the channel, there are links for items to purchase in the description area of each video. We're going to get started down the street. I set it to 1/250th of a second, f8, ISO 400 because I am in HLG mode. So let's start down this road. I got off the main road because there's a bit more traffic. I thought for Sunday morning there'd be less traffic, but apparently I was wrong. It's 8:15 or 8:20, so let's get started. Now my walking pace is pretty much how I would normally walk, at a slightly quickened pace. Not as fast as I would, but still, I'm just trying to give you guys, if I'm walking down the street, going someplace, I want to show you something. With other people walking around, you don't want to be like that person who's filming and blocking everybody. So I try to keep a regular pace. Granted, not many people are walking around this morning, but still, I want to make it as natural as it possibly can be. As you can see what's going on. Right now I'm one-handed instead of two-handed. Oops, things are getting darker. It's not going to work in here. 1/250th is definitely not going to work in here. All right, so I've reset it at f2.8. This should work fine. We got a coffee shop here. Let's walk through. Fruit stands. I typically come here to get my fruits. Morning. So everywhere is not fully open yet, but breakfast is available. Oh man, banding, that's not gonna work. Oh, too much. But you know what? This is all testing, so we'll stick with this. All right, well, trying to do it in manual mode didn't work, so I've opted for program mode to let it handle lighting.
change don't change like it used to. Who runs the roost round here? The cooch gone clear. Got the heart from the bass to the snare, but the word is what's keeping them here. Word to my peers, the work don't stop till the top. Think it's resting, but we're not. I spread the message and it's love. I get the S and the P and the R from above. I see the restless with the keys and the palm.
So here in Chiang Mai, there's usually a bunch of these markets around multiple neighborhoods. We usually have multiple in one neighborhood where you can go and pick up breakfast. What I found is that people don't buy a lot of groceries, at least not what I see, because it's so much easier to come out, grab some food, and go on your way. Food is prepared, you're going to work, you just pick something up, and then you're on your way. So not every place is set up yet, but as you can see, there's two sections over here. There's this one that I just passed through, and there's this other side across the street. Over here, they typically have tables set up where you can get your food, sit down, and have your meal. As I'm walking around now, I'm not looking at the screen, so I don't know what it looks like, but I'm trying to hold the camera pretty steady with both hands. And again, this is just normal walking around to see, will electronic stabilization at 1/250 of a second handle things. Now that I'm outside, I've checked the screen. It's now at 1/1000th of a second and at f8. So I'm thinking that the stability program, if it's at 1/250, they should solve things. Then in program mode, I think it will be good. You notice inside when I turn on program mode, the flickering, I call it banding before, but the light flickering was reduced tremendously. I don't think I noticed any on the screen, so I was trying to change it with the anti-flicker setting, but it goes like point something shutter speed, so it was taking too long to kind of dial something. And so, you know, so just go in program mode, because if that's going to work for everyone, and it works very well, in most cases, if you just want to vlog and walk on the street, just throw the camera in program mode, walk around, let it do its thing, and you should still turn out with pretty good footage. So I'm gonna wrap. I'm heading back out on the main street. I'll go back in and we'll sit down and we'll talk about it after I review the footage. Now that I've had some time to review the footage, I can say I was wrong. And to that gentleman that said that maybe it was user error, I guess I can claim some user error as well. The one thing that surprised me, as a person who sticks to the manual, and I've read that thing through to figure out how to use the best settings for this camera, there was nothing in there about going to 1/250th of a second and higher to get the best performance out of the stabilization. And for that, I'm pointing my finger at Nikon. Because when you go onto the video side, it points you back to the camera side for the information and stability setting and how to utilize stability, normal IBIS setting and VR and electronic stabilization, which it should not. There should be more information pointing specifically at how to utilize the video stabilization. So that's a shortfall on their end. That's not on me, on us, or anybody that's been reviewing this camera and seeing that working, because typically when you're shooting video, again, it's double the frame rate. If you do 24, you're kind of stuck at 50, unless you have a camera that can dial in those minute shutter changes. Of course, we know, as you saw in the video, you can enter an area where there's more flicker. If you're going to shoot in that particular area, you're going to have to dial in the shutter speed to make sure that you avoid the flicker. If you're on the street walking around, you're going to run into some situations where it's not going to work well. I was hoping that the camera would have bumped up the shutter speed and not kept the f-stop high. So if it's stuck around 150 or 1/250th of a second, and probably bring it down to f2.8, maybe it would have worked out better. Since this was like a raw testing, this is my first time trying it, so as I go along and I learn, I think I'll figure out how to get it right. But knowing that the camera works well, I'm happy. And I can say for those of you who have a Z8 and been taking video, you're probably gonna say, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why should it be at 1/250 of a second? But there you go. It seems to work very well. As you see me walking around outside. At the last section, when I went back outside in program mode, when it bumped to 1/1000 a second, it even managed the footsteps pretty darn well. I wouldn't call it Panasonic level of stability, but I've not seen a Panasonic in person. On the video, I've seen what they've done. I don't know if there's extra stabilization added to it, but straight out of the camera, it looked pretty good. And the Nikon, the Z8, that is even, in my opinion, better than what I get straight out of the Sony with the A7R V and the FX30. That's a big thing. And Nikon should be touting that more. Even if you have to go to higher frames per second, Nikon, sell it. People want to know these things. Should we go to a lower shutter speed, 124? Yeah, we would love it to be on that level. If Nikon can tweak that iris and get it to work throughout the range, if you put it in manual mode, it'll still work fine. That would be great. The manual needs to be updated. It needs to express this information that nobody knows about. And I think Ricci, I don't know how he figured it out. Did he talk to someone in Nikon or did he figure it out on his own? Ricci, thank you for that information. It's a game changer. Now we can really say that the Nikon is performing very well, I say excellent, when it comes to video stabilization and the electronic stability. However, it doesn't work in all frames per second, or rather all shutter speeds. As you watch the video, share your comments. Yes, there was some section there when back in program mode where you can see some micro jitters. And again, I think I put if I hadn't, I'm gonna put it in there, that the shutter speed I dropped to, I think it was like 1/3 of a second. So you guys can see the difference. And then when it's outside in bright sunlight, what it's like. Most of you, if you're gonna shoot in a dark environment, like at nighttime on the street or wherever, and utilizing electronic stabilization, you'd want to know that it can work at a lower shutter speed as well. So that's something Nikon can probably do in a firmware upgrade. I think as Sony's been improving their cameras, they've been tweaking things more and more and more. And maybe we'll see that in Z6 III. If Nikon gives me a firmware upgrade that can manage that, I probably won't need a Z6 III. Yeah, I'm still concerned a bit about the heat, but I'm not walking for 20 minutes straight and filming. But my heat consideration is still there. So that's something to look at. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I want to hear from you what you think about the way Nikon implemented it. And now that you realize that the camera can actually do pretty good stabilization, will you be utilizing this camera more for outdoor walking around? I know people say it's on a vlogging camera because you can't flip the screen and see, but I'm confident in knowing that if I hold it, I can see what's going on. If I walk behind it and hold it in my hands, I don't need a gimbal. I can turn on electronic stabilization. So, thank you, Nikon. Please tweak it so it can go lower.